Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben.
And I'm Hector.
So we did our first episode last week. I thought it went pretty well. We've had a bunch of people listening to it and talking about it, and Sierra was fantastic, wasn't she?
Yeah, no, it was pretty epic for us to actually follow through with the idea and get it down and get it going. And I'm excited that we're actually on episode 2 because that means we're like a legitimate podcast now, man.
I know, right? And it's funny, I know there's a lot of podcasts out there, a bazillion podcasts out there, but that's one of the reasons why I didn't.
561 Music, though. I'm just saying.
That's one of the reasons why I hadn't kind of got off my ass to do it before, because
Sure.
I was sort of like, everyone's doing it, but then it's just all about finding something that is worth being out there. And as soon as I stopped thinking about myself, and I was like, maybe we do something for the local scene. Maybe we actually do something for other people a little bit. Kind of provide a platform for local musicians. Then it was like, well, that's actually is worth doing. You know what I mean?
So what I'm hearing is 561 Music has evolved from the Ben Show. I mean, is that pretty accurate?
It's always the Ben Show, bro. It's always the Ben Show.
Yeah. So I'm excited. This week we have Bryce Allyn in here.
Yeah, hi, Bryce.
And,
hey guys, thanks for having me.
And yeah, man, I wanted to ask you, Ben, though, before we get going. So we record this podcast on Wednesdays. It releases on Fridays. So for those listening, this will probably be a day late as I talk about this. But tomorrow's April Fool's Day, and I just wanted to get your take on it. First of all, is that just an American thing, or is that a worldwide thing?
It's a thing in England. I don't know about worldwide, but it is a thing in England.
Okay.
But in England, according to my mum, but she might have just been saying this because she didn't want me getting up to mischief, it only counts until midday.
Okay. Now, how do you feel about April Fool's? Is it just another day, it comes and goes, and that's fine for you? Or
Well, you guys take all holidays more seriously.
Yeah, I'm actually terrified about tomorrow, and I'll tell you. And Bryce, maybe you can chime in a little bit. You have kids, so I have a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old home.
Oh, man.
And my wife, who acts like a child sometimes. The three of them take this very seriously. Thankfully, by the time they hear this, it will be released one day after the fact, and I won't be reminding them that tomorrow is April Fool's. But I am actually terrified of tomorrow.
Well, judging by the way you guys do Halloween, I can imagine April Fool's Day is
God,
pretty...
they are like, man, I'm talking like saran wrap on the toilet seat, and
wow.
yeah, they get crazy about it. And it's not like, okay, haha, joke's over, whatever, let's get on with our day. Like you said, it goes on until midnight. So,
Okay.
if at 11:59 nothing's happened, I'm still not in the clear, okay?
Yeah.
So,
That's great.
yeah, I'm terrified about tomorrow. But anyways, I just wanted to get your take on it and see how it was
Well, no,
with
it's
you being
interesting.
from England and stuff, if it was something that was big over there,
The one thing that I think is significant in terms of that is how just the big difference with holidays in the UK and holidays over here is the magnitude at which you celebrate them. And that's the big difference. It's like they all still exist in England, but everyone's just kind of like, oh, I guess it's Halloween.
So-
Like maybe let's put some, maybe let's do something a little bit. Over here it's like, it's Halloween! Everyone goes nuts for it. And
I
that's
think
big
the
difference.
U.S. is like is like Texas to England. Like we just do everything bigger.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah, and also, I think that the modern kind of version of Halloween. I'm using Halloween as an example because it's
Sure.
like it's not so much of a religious holiday. It's just a random holiday, a bit like April Fool's Day. It's just a
Yeah,
random holiday.
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure some Wiccans would disagree with me, but the
And we just alienated an entire group of listeners.
but the big difference is just how much more you do it, and the version of Halloween, the American version of Halloween, is influenced the English one, because I think we used to do some stuff, but it wasn't that much of a big deal, and I think just through movies and everything, it's become more of a big deal in the UK because of the US.
We specifically, us as a family, like we get ridiculous with Halloween. You've seen it. I mean, we build our own animatronics, and we like set up all these crazy fog machines and lights, and yeah, there's all sorts of crazy stuff.
It's good times.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get down
do
to
it.
business here.
Let's do
So, Bryce,
What's up?
yeah, we're so grateful to have you on.
Absolutely.
I feel like you are, a very important part of the local scene. you know,
Thanks,
one
man.
of the guys down here who's been not only doing it well, but doing it well for a long time, and someone to look up to. And you know, I'm really honestly
Oh, thanks, brother.
proud to know you, and very much respect how much you've done. And
Thanks, man.
yeah, and the fact that you've made it your whole thing. You know, like it's
Sure.
it's your lifestyle, and you've kept it going. You know, you've got kids, and you're still doing it, and
That's huge.
it's a yeah,
You
for,
know,
huge.
you know,
I
it's
know
a
that's
balance.
huge.
It's a balance.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well,
Yeah,
this is a huge treat for me. You know, I've actually seen Boxelder and I've actually seen B-Liminal
Nice.
before I knew who you were. And you know, I've been to actually a few shows locally here for both of them. And so, you know, once Bryce Allyn Band came around, it wasn't something that I had gotten a chance to see until the live
Sure.
stream here
Sure.
at
Oh, yeah,
Live
that's right,
Music
sure.
Community. And yeah, man, for me it's street because it's always cool for
Oh,
me.
thanks,
It's
dudes.
always cool. It's
Killer.
always cool when I, you know, in my earlier days seeing bands locally, etc. And
Yep.
then now we've got you here. So
Yeah,
that's
brother, thanks,
awesome
man.
for me.
It's
Yeah.
great to be here. Yeah, yeah, it's funny. I've been at it a while. I think we're going on, you know, many years, just shy of 30 years. I've been playing live now, believe it
Yeah.
or not.
That's awesome.
And the funny thing is like I don't even know what else to do. What else
Sure.
would I do?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I had moments through it where I'm like, a lot of people I know aren't doing this anymore. Like, you know, and I've survived generations of bands, you know, and
yeah.
Of course.
but when I kind of looked outside, I looked out the window at what else I might do.
There's just nothing else.
I
Yeah.
just kept doing what I was
Yeah.
doing. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I hear that, you know, I hear that loud and clear. That's just something which I can relate to 100%. There's people who like music, and then there's people who there's no other choice but to be playing music.
That's it.
You know, that's what you do, and
That's it.
that's with me too. I relate to that 100%.
Yeah, man. I think we got I had a very good friend tell me, and actually it was kind of recently. You know, you have kids, you have responsibilities greater than yourself, and sometimes you feel selfish to invest so much in yourself because you know, music. You don't mean to be selfish, but it takes a lot of your time up, and
Sure,
it's traveling, and it takes a lot of time. So, you know, somebody reminded me from the outside looking in, man, you always got to work with your strengths. You always got to work with your strengths.
Right, yeah.
And I've been at it for a minute, so I kind of know what's going on as opposed to, say, branching out somewhere else and trying to make it and make myself in the world. So that's really when I
Sure.
started to be like, yeah, you know what? I just need to stick with this and work with
Yeah.
my strengths at any facet, whether it's live playing or tracks for other people or songwriting. Just stay in this vein, man, because what am I going to do? Make sandwiches for somebody? Clean cars? Like, I've done it all. Carpentry.
Become
like
a haberdasher.
You know, that's what I'm saying, man. Yeah, exactly, bro. So, yeah, so, you know, I've been at it a while, but I'm just, I wouldn't know what else to do. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't know. This is what I do. So I'm just going to keep doing it for as long as I can. Yeah.
Well, we're glad you are doing it. So,
Thanks, man.
yeah, for sure, man.
So, I have a list of questions that my plan is to ask everyone, well, at least the artists that come on the show, the same questions.
Sure.
And the first one is, why did you start playing music? What was
Yeah.
how did that come about?
Well, man, great question. I am from a very musical background. My family is like very musical. So at a young age, my dad was a jazz musician. So not only would he sing, he would sing barbershop, and he was an amazing sax player. My mom was also a singer, and they'd be singing like duets around the house. It led to my sister playing flute, my sister playing piccolo. I'm at all the recitals. So as a young kid, I had this musical influence of my dad playing downstairs, the live music, my sister playing her flute up in her room, my mom's walking around the house singing, my dad's singing. It's Christmas, it's the holidays, we're caroling, there's like spirit and there's music, you know? It's just everywhere I looked, it was music. I was humming as a kid, you know, it's just like, it was normal. It was everywhere.
Yeah, sure.
And I dug it, you know? So I just kind of jumped right in, and I really feel that was like some of the source. Like to this day, I can remember sitting in a dead sound car in Massachusetts, covered in snow. My parents were at a friend's house, and I just started singing. You know, and it was really like I was like, oh, I could probably do this, maybe. You know,
Oh,
and
cool.
And as a kid, I didn't even like it. You know, I'd get chosen to sing in the school play, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. I want to be one of the tough guys in the play. I want to be the karate guy. I don't want to be the singer guy.
Yeah.
And it was actually like a problem for me because I didn't want to do that when I was younger, like singing plays and stuff. You know what I mean? But I kind of had a voice from a musical background, so it was funny for a little bit when I didn't think it was cool to sing.
Right,
And I
yeah.
was asked to sing.
Yeah,
But really, it was just like I was really had a musical family growing up and was surrounded by it, so it seemed like, you know, it was a logical thing to do for me.
That's an interesting thing and something I'd like to pick up on, because we were talking last week with Sierra, and she was saying, you know, that, and we kind of we related a little bit about the fact that we were never really sort of particularly athletic. But I think in your case, that's not the case, is it? You know, you
Yeah.
are athletic.
Yeah, and I was as a kid too. I played every sport under the sun.
Yeah, yeah. So
for
you know,
sure.
I don't think that's just. I think quite a lot of musicians can relate to that because it became their thing instead of sport, but it's
Right.
certainly not, you know, everybody at all.
Oh
you know,
yeah, right. No, agreed.
So was singing kind of like the first thing out of the gate for you, or
Well, actually, to be honest with you, guitar was
Okay.
I was singing. Don't get me wrong, I was singing
Sure,
like we just said, but guitar was the cool thing to do.
and did
you know what
just,
I mean?
Did you just pick it up and start noodling, or did you
yeah.
actually go out and get lessons?
Well, this is
or-
really funny what Ben just said. So I had guitar, and
Okay.
and when I was 5 years old, I had a guitar in my hand. My parents put me in lessons, acoustic, nylon. And the reason I didn't do good at that, and I stalled so long, is because I was playing sports. I was riding waves as a
Okay.
young kid. I
Yep.
was a big hockey player, you know.
Yep.
So I was out in it before I was home practicing.
Yeah.
But even through grade school, it was really cool in Massachusetts. You would like leave math class and go down to the music den, and you'd play guitar, and you'd learn guitar at school, like middle school, and then you go back up to class, and it was cool, you know.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I was always at it, but I was always distracted because I was into many things as a kid. So my guitar playing, you know, was just, you know, mediocre. I mean, I'm still not an amazing guitar
Yeah.
player, but I was sidetracked because I was, you know, a kid. But
Sure.
as I got older and got more mature, I realized like, oh man, you need to work on your guitar.
It just kinda
skills and your
clicked at
singing.
some
Yeah,
point,
it
and
clicked.
it-
Well, probably when I was about a senior in high school, it really clicked. Junior, senior, I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, this needs to happen.
Because you
know?
realize you can get the chicks with it.
Yeah, no, not then. Not then. I was still, you know, practicing rhythm to the Casio,
That's why.
trying to figure it out in my room.
Yeah, my family has a lot of musicians in it as well, and I know that was a big reason why I wanted to do it. My uncle's a folk musician, and as a child, I idolized him and what he, you know, what the fact that he played music and the people, you know, were into that, and he was kind of a big name in folks in the UK, and you know that was a huge influence on me as a kid. You know, just the fact that I had it in the family, and I'm sure a lot of people are the same. So, what would you say your kind of early musical influences were?
Well, this is funny, dude. I always laugh. And the funny thing is you guys might be able to relate or you think I'm crazy, but the first thing that really just like threw me over the edge, believe it or not, was Kiss.
Really?
Yep, was
See,
Kiss.
That's pretty amazing.
Okay,
That's a good answer.
because I'm like 5 or 6 years old. And the music and the rock, and I think back then I was into the music, not like I was understanding like the music back then.
Yeah.
But just the intensity of it, and I would watch the intensity between them and the crowd and the makeup and the fire and the explosions. It was like the most intense thing on the planet as a kid. So I was drawn to it like a bug to the flame. Like no doubt, like dude, it's almost embarrassing I say this out loud, but dude, I like dress up and like jump off the couch with my air guitar, you know, and I'd be like having my mom's pantyhose on, the freaking Kiss mask, you know, like trying to like mimic those guys. And then I think by the time I was like 7 or 8, like me and 3 of my bros would have like a fake band, dude. You know what I mean? With like the drums and like we would just go off and like it was what we were doing. We were so into it, you know. We were into like the charisma and all that, even outside of the music. But believe it or not, Kiss was like that first superpower that was like, whoa, rock and roll, whoa. It kind of like it opened me up to a lot of other stuff at a young age. So
they're just so visually stimulating.
I-
So for a
yeah,
kid,
it's-
I'm sure
yeah,
you were like,
it was
wow.
like crazy.
They're like the Uber band. They're all of the things about a live show kind of condensed.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah. I mean, it was a brilliant business plan. You know what I mean? If you think about Kiss, it was really a brilliant business plan.
Yeah.
But it's funny because obviously my music is nothing like that. I don't think I took anything musically with me from Kiss, just to be honest. No offense, dudes.
Yeah.
But I was really into like, you know, the sound and how it was back then as a child, you know. And I don't know, for me that was a big turning point where I was like, I want to be a rock and roll star.
You know, the first kind of band that I put together was when I was at sort of 14, 15. We like painted our faces white as well. I think they definitely capture the imagination. You know what I mean? 100% they do.
Yeah.
What in terms of musical influences? I mean, I know this is a big question, but like kind of early on, you know.
No, well, no, that's such a great question, and I'm saying so. You know, when I was a kid, just like I watch my kids now, I was like into like pop. You know, like pop radio, commercial radio, all the songs there because it's pop radio. It's popular music. It's catchy. There's big hooks. And as a kid, you fall right, as anybody, you fall right into it. That's kind of what that pop music's supposed to be. So I was listening to mainstream radio. But then at a young age, and understand, I have a brother and sister that are like pretty hip and they're older, like 7, 8 years younger than me. 7, 8 years older than me. So I was exposed to really cool stuff also. Like, you know, hearing them jam in their rooms. I'm like, what's that? You know, that's great. I want to be like them. So, there was a lot of
That makes a difference.
yeah, a lot of commercial radio, a lot of like early stuff, like great stuff in the '80s, Van Halen, and like a lot of great stuff. There's so much good stuff. But then I think when I really started honing in on what I really dug, I started jumping into that early alternative music.
Right.
So when I was like a kid, maybe like 11, 12, it was like Violent Femmes, Psychedelic Furs,
Gotcha.
And that was like super alternative music
That's my
back
jam
then,
right there, man.
dude.
You're talking my language now.
Yeah, bro.
Real proper, like indie.
Bro, really good stuff. And then from there, listening to that stuff, when other people went kind of mainstream with music, and this is kind of when I was just learning, my relationship with music was just loving it so much. I wasn't playing it so much. I was just in love with it. And I think that's what led to me playing it ultimately.
Yeah.
But it was that early alternative stuff. And then as I got a little bit older, it turned into like the Ramones came into it, and Echo and the Bunnymen and like all these cool, the Smithereens, the Lime Spiders. It was like, it was back when you can get a million tapes for like a penny.
Right.
Yeah,
So I would just check out all this cool music, man, early Midnight Oil stuff and like, 120 Minutes was on MTV and it had all this cool,
Back when MTV actually played
Yeah,
music.
XTC, dude, and like I really got into this, modern English. This early, for me, granted, I know it was around for longer than me, but as a young kid, I was into this stuff, and I really felt that's kind of what took me down my tasteful, quote unquote, tasteful path of music was some of that music inspiring me at an early age,
Yeah, cool. I think that
One of the Oingo Boingo. I mean, I could go on forever about the early music. I love it, dude.
And that's kind of one of the reasons why I think it's a difficult question to answer because anyone who is in love with music listens to just an unbelievable amount of it.
Unbelievable, yeah.
And I think that the proof of it is in the records that you've made and in the bands that you've been because it's just littered with influences and also stylistic. There's so much kind of moving between genres and there's so much it's evident that you've listened to a lot of music.
I think that's where it comes from.
I
think that's where it comes from listening to so much music that sometimes you deliver it you don't even know what you're doing sometimes. Like I think sometimes it's almost like cerebral sometimes that you're like, But I think listening to that's actually a really good point, Ben, that we're a product of, our environments, and when you come up listening to a lot of music like that, as an artist, you're only bound to filter some of it out for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that Boxelder stuff, especially the really early stuff, is a lot more rock than I remember it being.
Oh yeah.
It's more rock.
It was
than
all
it's
rock,
reggae.
bro.
Yeah,
To be honest with you, the first album was complete psychedelic rock. But we hadn't discovered reggae yet.
Right.
When we first got together, we loved reggae, but we were all about psychedelic rock. It was the mid '90s. Reggae rock wasn't here yet. I don't mean to date myself. I mean, it was.
I feel a bit of a vibe of it in there just because I know you and I know the band. But yeah, listening to it, I was like, this is just rock, basically.
No, it was, bro.
Yeah.
It's always an interesting formula of reggae and rock. But even the second album was still the majority of rock, and we just had started to get a little bit of reggae inspired.
Right,
and it was on the third album that we actually worked with reggae great Willie Lindo from Black Uhuru, and we brought in some real authentic reggae vibes.
That's fantastic. How
some
did you
inspiration.
link up with him? How did that
Oh
work?
man, Heavy Beat Studios in Miami. We linked. We actually had 2 producers for that album. We had a good rock producer, a good man, a good bro Birdman, Sean Gould from Miami, and then we had, the reggae side too with Willie. And so it was great. We were trying to balance out our different sounds. Trying to get the best of both worlds. It was kind of interesting having 2 producers for each sound, on the album. But it worked out great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
One of the best tricks, I got to share one of Willie's tricks right now. We'd be in the studio with all this high-tech equipment, in the studio, Echo Beach. It was great.
Yeah.
And they'd be doing all the stuff with the tracks, and Willie would just be listening to the track. He had a Walkman, I think, we have a Walkman or a Discman. I don't know what he had, but he'd have the song on the Walkman. Yeah, it was a Walkman. It might have been a Discman. And he'd listen to it, and he'd flip on the radio, and he'd flip it back to the Discman, and he'd flip it on the radio, and he'd flip it back. And he's like, yeah, man, when it's the same, that's when we know we're good.
Yeah.
And so now to this day, bro, I got my stuff playing, and I stick it in my van, I listen to it, then I hit the radio, and then I stick it in. I'm like, man, primitive but effective technique. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
very
totally.
effective. But yeah, so I'm sorry to get off, but reggae came into the game later for Boxelder, for sure. We were inspired. And it's actually ironic that we didn't start off like that and then came kind of known for being a reggae rock band,
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing as we're sort of, close to that point anyway, something that we've spoken about before, but it's just I think something that people would be interested to hear your take on it is when confronting something which is very much a kind of a cultural movement to the point of being almost a religion.
Right.
How have you in the past, and how do you now approach reggae and your place within it, and has that changed over the years?
Yeah. Well, I got it. Yeah. That's a great question. So I definitely want to say that all the bands I'm in, we're not Rasta or claim to be straight up authentic reggae music. We are like reggae inspired. We are very inspired by reggae because we love it. I think it's a very beautiful vehicle for a very positive message. That's kind of like my draw to reggae. Not to mention the culture that surrounds it, and Rastafarianism, great. But I always want to make sure that I'm respecting it and trying to give to it instead of taking from it. I'm not from Jamaica. I don't want to claim this. Without getting into it, I know people that talk like they're from Jamaica and they've never been there in their life. That's disrespect. Yeah. And when I see people up there claiming Jah Rastafari and digging into the religious part that's serious, I hope they know what they're getting themselves into, because you're either a link in the chain to something righteous, or you're a link in the chain of being ignorant to something. And
sure.
And I've actually had the honor to tour with some reggae greats,
right?
And I was very humbled by their presence, and I would never want to take away from anything by claiming, we're a reggae Rasta. It's all nothing but 100% pure respect, and we are like inspired by it, and that's where we're coming from.
Yeah, and I think that's that's right. There's a lot sort of talked about with this whole kind of like white boy reggae thing, and
race appropriation.
Well, yeah, no one wants to be doing that. Firstly, no one wants to be doing that, especially in this day and age, and and also not ever.
Right, and also not ever.
But I think just because some people do that and it sucks, it doesn't mean that reggae is like off limits either.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It just all depends on how you approach it.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely. We were blessed enough to tour with the Marley family and Toots and the Maytals, and they accepted us 100% because we weren't trying to be something we weren't. You know what I mean? And I think anything you're doing, I think that's what's up. As long as you're genuine and you're coming from the right place. But I hear you. In this day and age, there's a lot of artists that aren't like that in many genres. You know what I mean? So I think you definitely have to be respectful of where you're coming from.
It's a tricky one. I was listening to an interview with Robin Thicke just today, and he was talking about, and he was asked the same question, and he just said, well, it's everything that I do in the soul genre it's because it's out of respect. It's the music I enjoy listening to is what I love.
Yep.
And the people that I work with, it's not like he is doing this separate thing just with all white people and then kind of claiming he made it up or anything like that.
Right.
He's just a part of the process. He's, he's on BET more than any other channel, and the people he plays with are white and black and just across the board. So it's exactly. It's 100% how you approach the thing and if you're doing it with respect or not.
I mean, at the end of the day, man, I think. For all artists and all genres, I mean, you play what you play because you like it, you respect the artists that you draw influence from,
exactly,
and you're essentially, your craft is paying homage to these artists and to that style and to that genre. Race, religion, whatever, politics, none of that really should have any bearing on it whatsoever. It's just it's a passion thing. I mean, you're passionate about what you do and you do it well and you enjoy it and you can bring that to the people, then so be it,
Yeah.
No,
as long as it's done with respect, like you said, as long as it's done with respect, there should be no issue there.
Yeah, straight up, man, straight up.
So we all have a different way of doing it, and I'm just curious about what your writing if you have a writing process and what it is, if you do have one.
Sure. Well, my process is usually like this. Usually it starts obviously with the idea for the lyric, and I've tried a couple different methods for where the lyrics come from, but I find that the best, truest, and most genuine spot that they come from is from life experience, because I'm not ever making anything up. I'm never researching anything. I've just been putting in the time. You know what I mean? So pretty much anything you hear out of my mouth, whether I'm singing with example of one song I can think of, and almost on one album from B-Liminal that was just like Three Sluts. That was just like, hey, let's go the opposite way and let's just write a song about who cares and let's party and Three Sluts, yeah.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
I tried it. It was cool. People dug it. It was partied. But normally, excuse me, normally I come from life experience. Something is brewing in my soul, an experience, something I saw, anything from life that I'm going through, and it gets to me so much that I start thinking about it and writing it in different ways and want to relay it to other people, you know.
Right.
And that's where I usually, and then the thought leads down to some lyrics written on some paper, you know, just the main idea. It usually turns into a brainstorm session, very much like you would in school, like straight up brainstorming. Like,
Right.
you know, I used to try to go line for line, and that's just like painful. And you don't get. Sometimes you get when you're on fire, you can get good results going line for line, but I like to do a brainstorm, so it's a free thought. I'm not thinking within phrases. I'm not thinking within words that go together. I'm not thinking in syllables. I'm not doing that yet. That comes next.
Right,
But
yeah,
at first, it's this wide open thing about how I feel with my heart and my head open, and it's like literally like grade school brainstorming, you know, and sentences. And I kind of get it all out there so I can think about the thought in a more three-dimensional, thorough process. And sometimes this goes on for days with like a piece of paper jotting
that's pretty wild.
different vantage points of what I'm thinking, all out there. And then it's time to try to put it to like a tasty riff, you know?
yeah.
And then it's time, and then it comes time for that. And then once the riff or the music that these thoughts go to, that's when I start turning these thoughts, you know, into sentences, and I start breaking them down syllabally and phrases. And I don't want to say rhyme because I used to rhyme more back in the day, and stuff gets Dr. Seussy. You got to stay away from that, right? You can only rhyme and bend words, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
then I started learning about bending words to make them sound like they rhyme and opening up my vowel sounds, you know. So it turns into all this precise stuff later, but it really starts with a brainstorm
Yeah.
about life experience. Then it goes to the paper. Then, of course, I don't know about you guys, but it always goes to the phone. I don't know. Everybody I know, dude, it goes to the phone. They're like,
absolutely.
my phone's all the raw jams. Before it even gets in my little home studio, the phone is like, is that working? You know what I mean? I listen to it. It goes to the phone. And then after the phone, then we're talking, like right now, a couple songs I'm working on, you know, I'm getting all the syllables and the phrasings and get everything just right to the way I want it. And then I just got to repeat that until I'm basically feeling it. I don't look down at the paper anymore. I'm trying not to look at my guitar until I can perform it, you know? So that's kind of my process in a nutshell. You know, I'm pretty much been doing that for a long time, you know? And sometimes I get in little ruts, you know, and it takes me a minute, but then usually I just keep pushing and I just push through and something else comes out, you know?
I think sometimes, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I know when I've written something meaningful and good, when it's almost like a weight has been lifted and I feel almost like a sense of elation through it. You know? Like Like I've arrived.
You're feeling it, right? I mean, bro. Yep, absolutely.
And because I was talking to Sierra last week about this as well, is that I find a lot of the work goes on in my subconscious. It's like the idea will be brewing for a long time, and then a whole load of it will just come out all at once. You know,
Brilliant.
That's my whole thing.
Yeah.
But this brainstorming thing sounds like a really good idea.
Takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
It takes the pressure off of having to deliver the right answer in the next sentence
Yeah.
before crumpling up that paper.
Yeah.
Takes the pressure off. Let you think wide open. I'm thinking, I mean, everything. No rhymes, no nothing. I feel like this, and you know what I mean? You can really wrap your head around the thought without being like, oh, it has to rhyme with the last.
I
It
have
has
the
to
hardest
go.
time like sitting down and just coming up with lyrics and things, and
Tricky.
it's because I always approach it from this methodical line by line approach. But that's actually
Yeah.
a great idea to
Yeah,
just
'cause
sit
you
down
never
and just
know.
let the ideas flow. Man.
Yeah, you just get them all down there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you can kind of pick through, and some of them will make sense in succession or not, or you're like, oh man, I was coming from this angle, but then this just opened me up to this, way. Now I might go this way and come in,
I was listening to a guy who was talking about one of the ways he writes is he sets character. It's almost like he does it like he's writing a film script or a screenplay or something. He sets up characters and a place, for example. He makes a little framework, and then he just allows his imagination to let them interact with each other, and then the complexity comes then.
Wow.
So he just sets the framework up, and then he just kind of lets them do the work. It's like the
Wow.
complexity comes from them interacting with
Yeah.
each other.
Whoa.
And,
Wow.
That's a really cool idea.
Wow.
Yeah, it's something
I
I'm
can
gonna-
respect that. That's cool, man. Because he's not just fishing for ideas in the air. That's when you're kind of like come up with weak stuff. That he's actually, if he has these characters in his head and the way they interact, I mean, there's going to be some sense to it, and that's very cool.
Yeah, and
very
I think
cool.
no matter what I'm pretty sure that no matter what process you go about doing it, it's going to draw some stuff out of deep from you.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's why we're doing it in the first place, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Therapy.
Yeah.
Those are always the best songs, though. I mean, if it's from personal experience and stuff, those are
Yeah.
always the best songs.
Yeah.
Like you said, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm notorious for writing like cliche stuff, you know. But yeah. I mean, but you know, that just makes, you know, all the sense in the world. That,
Sure.
that if it's personal,
It's
it just goes so much, just goes
Right.
a long way.
Yeah, you're going to
It's
carry
fun.
that with you, and you're basically
Yeah,
carrying
yeah,
the. I
but-
tell people all day, I'm writing the soundtrack of my life one day at a time.
Yeah,
Because
no,
honestly, I
that's
don't know.
amazing.
I'd probably run out of stuff to write about if I had to pick stuff that I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? It's almost like, to me, it's simple. Like, what are you going to sing about? How about stuff I know? You know, right? You know what I'm
No,
saying?
I hear that, and it's in my early kind of writing days. It's funny. I don't know if my the guy who used to be in a band with Barney is going to end up listening to this, but he'll laugh if he hears me say it. He say, you know, I started writing a song about like a wise homeless guy, you know, and he's like, yeah, that's like one of the steps to, like, everyone writes the song about the wise homeless guy at some point.
way. That's
It's like
great,
you-
bro.
Yeah,
That's great.
It's like you start with just writing straight up like depressing love songs.
Yep.
And then you try and push out of that.
Yeah.
And you're fishing around for ideas, and like one of the big
Yep.
ones is always the wise homeless guy.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, man.
Funny you say that. Oh, dude, all my songs in the beginning were ballads. It was a
Right.
challenge to like
Yeah.
start playing upbeat music.
Yeah.
I was stuck in ballad world. I was playing ballads. I'm like, what am I doing? This
I'm
isn't
still
vibing.
stuck in ballad love song world, man. It's been 30 years. I'm still stuck there.
Hey, nothing wrong with the beautiful ballad, but you know, now I write more upbeat stuff, you know. So I like, but there was a time I wrote a lot of ballads. Yeah.
Well, something that I find meaningful in music is when is lyrics that are serious or sad over uplifting sounding music. That's always been a trick that I've employed to make my music work.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's an approach. When it comes to setting the words to the music,
Yeah.
do they have to? How do you approach making them mesh? Is it something where the words could be completely separate in meaning from the music, or do they have to complement each other?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the words themselves, I've never really thought about that. For me, the melody and the phrasings are with the music, but the words are the words. You know.
Okay.
But don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna write a power like a sullen ballad over a rocking riff. So
Okay,
I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
in that way, yeah, they are like, you know, the
Yeah.
energy of the movement. You know, if it's like
yeah.
something upbeat, something good, but like so
Mood
to
of
a
the
certain
lyrics.
extent, you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah.
But for the most part, I gotta tell you, I'm more writing in again kind of like delivering in the style of the music, you know, a little
Yeah.
bit.
Okay.
But that's great because I've never thought about that. You know, I'm always like, when it comes to the words, I'm more busy. I'm more thinking about how I'm delivering them to the music than I'm thinking about maybe the words' meanings to the music. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, I know that when occasionally it works out for me where the music and the words are like they have to be with each other. You know,
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like you get it,
Yeah.
they mesh together, but
Yeah.
it doesn't always work out for me. But,
Yeah,
if I'm honest, but more often than not, it doesn't work.
But
out.
but I think the words and the music are usually the same vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like the same vibe. You know,
Yeah.
I'm good. Like I agree with
I
you.
don't know. I've heard some songs that are like depressing as all hell when you really dive into the lyrics.
Oh, right.
And then, but the song is like, you know, chink, chink,
Happy.
chink,
Yeah,
chink,
yeah,
chink.
happy.
You're like,
lucky.
yeah, it's like such a happy song, and then you
Yeah.
start listening to the lyrics, and you're like, wow, he wants to kill himself. You know,
Whoa,
like,
yeah,
I-
deceiving.
Quite
Yeah.
honestly,
Deceiving.
that's like my party trick. Like every single song I write is like that vibe. It's like
Wow.
a happy song, but you listen to it and you're like, oh, hang on.
There's more. There's more to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that one great song? Can we just talk about? I just want to know if it's an example. When I got to play with you acoustic solo, and thanks for sitting in with me and taking some pressure off me.
Oh,
that
that
was
was
really
some good
great.
time, yeah.
That was a good time. You told me about a song where something exploded in the kitchen, and it
Oh,
was real
yeah.
serious. Would that be an example of like a song that was?
Yeah.
I remember it being friendly and upbeat, but you were talking about some serious stuff. And when I
Yeah,
talked to you
yeah.
after the gig, you're like, dude, that was serious and like changed me for a while.
Yeah, that was like straight up therapy writing that song. I
Wow,
felt like I
bro.
had to write. I just before I knew that would be a good idea. You know,
Yeah.
like as therapy because it is. A therapist telling you to
course.
do that.
Yeah.
But like but yeah, it was 100% just needed to get it out there.
Yeah, that was a
in the
great
world.
song. What was the name of that song?
Did I ever name it anything? I think it was called Propane Tank.
Wow.
'Cause, yeah, propane
Appropriate.
tank. A
Appropriate.
propane tank
Right.
fell in the fat fryer. The kitchen exploded.
Oh my, yeah.
It was just awful. Anyway,
What a story, Ben. When I heard that story, I was floored. And I remember the song being kind of like, oh, cool, you wouldn't know that. He
Yeah.
probably went through the tragedy he
Right.
did
Right.
from that song.
yeah.
You held it good.
I'd say it's a kind of like it's a little bit of a gimmicky way of providing multiple levels to a song. You
Sure.
know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
But it works.
Yeah, yeah.
The next question is something that I'm really interested to ask people because I just don't know, and it's not something that I generally talk about with my musician friends. But how much and what do you practice?
Well, yeah. So I'll take you through the years, and I wish I played more.
Tricky
So,
with the kids, huh?
Yeah. So I gotta tell you now that I play for a living. It's all I do.
Yeah.
I play so much that we don't really practice.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's right, but we play together 3 or 4 times a
Yeah.
week. And sometimes it's different. The songs are different when it's solo. The songs are different when it's duo. The songs are different when it's trio. And the songs are different when it's the full band, the 4-piece.
Yeah.
So the songs change a lot. There's nothing more than I would like to do than have a day of the week, and we're working on it, that we get together. The days in Boxelder and B-Liminal, 2 days a week, hours every night, run through the sets, work on new stuff. I mean, we get together, we talk.
Yeah.
That's the way it was.
Yeah.
Now we play so much, and we're doing this for a living, that we're together playing 3 or 4 nights a week anyways. The problem with that is we're playing the same stuff over and over, the same songs. I mean, they're different shapes,
course.
they
Yeah,
jam,
of
it's
course.
different, but we're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So I really think practice is important, you know,
sure, yeah.
as a band dynamic. Now, on my own,
Yeah.
so as a band, we play so much that we're not practicing as much as we should. You
Yeah.
really got to,
I
because
think that's ubiquitous. There's a lot of working bands like
yeah,
that.
it is. The only problem is you don't get to stretch out. You're always on the clock, and there's always a bit of live pressure. I'm not saying it's a lot of pressure, but you know the live pressure. You don't want to, like, you're inclined not to mess up live.
Yeah.
So you're not taking the chances where we could be at the studio just hanging out, letting it rip. Let's take that again. Hey, you know, you can stop and talk about where you're at and really exercise what's going on. That's what we used to do in B-Liminal and Boxelder.
Yeah.
We would stop, all talk about it, walk outside, talk about it, walk back in, you know, and it came across live because we were very confident in all this new stuff. The band now, it's wonderful. We're very tight, but we rehearse the same stuff over and over. So it would be nice to not have to rehearse the new stuff live.
Right.
You know, so I'm definitely an advocate of the band getting together. Now, me myself as an individual, I'm trying to play catch up on guitar. You know what I mean? So I'm constantly practicing guitar and guitar theory and trying to play more mature voicings of you know, because I'm the singer. So I'm like, you know, I'm trying to, our guitar player, Mike Kerr, is very talented. And I'm trying to even exist with him and play with him at the same time, and not be that singer guy who has a guitar in his hand, because you know, you've seen that. I'm like, that's like my biggest fear in the world. So it's all about practicing guitar, mature voicings of the chords, why I'm singing. So that's pretty much what I practice at home by myself. You know, is trying to my part in the band better. I need to practice more.
That's a very eloquent way of putting it, mature voicings. I'm the same. I can fall into, you know, my singer-songwriter side is probably stronger than my kind of straight-up musician side, and I can find myself just doing, you know, cheat mode chords and things. Absolutely. Sure. And I also try and stretch myself in that respect.
Yep. We do tend to experiment every now and then, though.
Yeah.
You know,
if
it's a slow night and there's only a few people there, we're like, let's try this song. We've never played this together before.
That's
and
the perfect time to practice. Right? I mean, bro, what else do you get?
we just, you know, Ben will say, oh, this is a song I used to play a while back. And he's like, here are the chords. And then, you know, James and I just go, we go through it like in our heads about, you know, 15 seconds. And then, then we bust it out. Like, that's it.
I mean, the funny thing is sometimes that seems to work out better than songs you know really well. Every now and again, you just go, wow, sounds amazing.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah, you get those lucky little happy accidents. Because with the practice thing, I think one of the advantages that we have as professional musicians who play so much, and also with me personally as a teacher as well, and playing so much and just have a guitar in my hand so much that little bits of practice get done on the fly. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's great, but it doesn't, again, you know, one thing I want to make sure I always say on here is because it's true, is there is no substitute for just straight up sitting there and practicing something.
Right,
you know, in a serious manner.
Got to be familiar with it, you know?
Yeah, totally. There's something which we share a little bit is a history of substance use and having to more or less an extent overcome it.
Yes.
You know, and being in recovery. And
big ups. Big ups.
Yeah, man. And I want to know, has that influenced your writing, firstly? And secondly, do you look back at some of the stuff you've done in the past and think, does it kind of make it cringe a little bit? Or, you know?
Yeah, well, yes to all the above.
Right.
Yeah, so quick synopsis of me, always had it in check, and then my first band, Boxelder, started to be like a big fish in a small pond, like a snowball rolling down the hill. We started gaining momentum. The parties got bigger, the crowds got bigger, the opportunities to get in trouble definitely got bigger. And my way into that whole thing was the band became a party,
Yeah.
right? So at one point, it was all about the music to get to the top of the mountain. Then we got to our top of the mountain, and it wasn't about the music anymore. It was more about the party, what was going on after. Did we have the right buzz to play, to maintain? You're on the road, you're driving for 7 hours, then you're playing.
Yeah.
I need to be awake, I need to be focused, that's what it turned into. So, and I probably missed a lot of great opportunities in my career. That's a hard part of looking back at that, but I own it 1,000%.
Yeah.
And so, yes, to get back to your question, it definitely has an effect on some lyrical stuff I've been through because, as you know, it's like it's a spiritual renaissance to make it through that and find yourself again. And I literally, just not to sound cliche, I literally was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was on my last leg, probably 2 feet in the grave, about to check out. And my story for turning around, believe it or not, was a child on the way. Right. That was the last straw that my conscience was like, no. Right. You know what I mean? My spirit was like, hey, it's funny, I can let this person down, I can let myself down, I can let these other people down, I can deal with it, but I can't let this pure new soul, they don't deserve it. You know what I mean? And even at the bottom of my blackest fiendness, I knew the truth of that situation. Yeah. So I had 9 months to pull it together. You know what I mean? And it wasn't easy. Spent a lot of nights naked on the tile floor, sweating it out like a jitterbug, dude. But, I made it through. And when you make it through something like that, you have a lot more to tell, and you learn a lot about yourself, And I was looking down the road forward writing lyrics, and I was looking in the rearview mirror writing lyrics, and I was also in the now writing lyrics. I remember sitting in my son lyrics, that's his name, sitting in the nursery before he was born, and that's how I actually started playing some of these songs that are still going to come out on this album here soon. They were about recovery and about finding myself, and and about the old days of crazy and not caring, about all of it. Again, a life experience that it gave me a lot to write about. It really influenced it a lot, and not only that, but coming back with a straighter mind. Like, wow, coming back with a focus. And my writing definitely got better. My guitar playing jumped up. My delivery got better. My voice got better. You know what I mean? Like from all smoking 10 packs of cigarettes a day and all this other crap I was caught up in. So it really, it had a huge effect, on me lyrically, on me physically, spiritually, on everything,
Yeah.
I got mad respect, for both of you guys for what you've overcome. I mean, I've never been there, so I can't even fathom for a second what you guys had to overcome. Unfortunately, I have had family members battling those same demons.
Yes.
Some of them are still battling it. Some of them lost the battle, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Too many good people I knew lost the battle. That was also something I could see the truth. I'm like, dude, you can go this way or that way. It's clear. There's no maybe. Like, dude, you're either going this way or that way, bro. What are you gonna do?
Mad props to both of you guys, man, because that's nothing. From what I can see from where I sit, it's not an easy. It's not an easy thing, and it's a every day for the rest of your life thing. Every day you have to make that decision that today is going to be a good day again.
The whole recovery thing is just full of sound bites and cliches and stuff like this. But one thing that I love that someone said is you have to kind of view your life on a day-to-day basis as walking up a down escalator. It's like if you stop walking, you're gonna go down. So you got to do something.
Yeah, you got to be proactive every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro. Straight up, dude. I like that. That's a great one.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well put.
Yeah, man. I lost a lot of time. I lost a lot of time, But I got to tell you, I've even come to peace with that because I may have lost, 10, 15 years of my life, and it wasn't lost. I was still touring, traveling, still making decent music, you know what I mean? I was into it, but when I realized my potential now, I realized maybe I have thoughts of, wow, you could have done much more. Fast forward to this day, instead of letting that thought haunt me, I'm on fire these days as far as my brain. It's like I'm just delivering, dude, and I almost feel like I'm such a go-getter now, and I'm physically healthy and sound in mind, and I don't think I would be here without the past. So I wear all my scars proudly. Because they make me who I am, and they also, dude, I'm up every day kicking butt, like with the kids and running and taking care of myself and running the band and writing and promoting. Like, dude, back in the day, I never could have handled that, in a way, even though I look back and I'm like, oh, dude, you blew it. It also shapes you for wanting to kick ass and not lose any more time in your life. You know what I mean? For
Definitely.
sure. So I definitely actually appreciate it. You
I
know?
think it's a journey certain people just have to take, and you either get to this point in it or you don't. You know what I mean? It's just that.
It's almost like it was part of the journey. Like, you know what I mean? It was, because like I was always pushing for this spot, and then I got faded for a little bit, and I didn't, and then from getting so faded, it made me come back with vengeance to get to where I thought I should be. You know, and I still fight that fight every day, but it's a good balance for me.
Yeah,
it works. You know.
That's awesome.
Keeps me fighting.
We've got so much to talk about, and I feel like we could talk forever. But I think it's probably time we heard you play some songs.
Sure, man.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. Cool. Let's do it.
Why don't you jump over there and we'll
Yeah.
have you play something for us.
This is a tune called Weekends Go. Hanging around towns, I don't know the weekend or show. Hanging out local with all the same crazies I know. Something so enticing, about to find a little trouble tonight. When I know we shouldn't do it, you know it kept me going inside. Why? 'Cause I'm on the run, I rise above. Those days were fun, but something has changed me. If you could feel all of this love, you would agree that something's worth saving. I know where the weekend goes. Oh yeah, so many, many more. Remembering those days of old. Oh yeah, I know where the weekend goes. Alright, yeah. That's right. Hanging around towns, I do know the weekend the same. When I know it's gonna get me if I don't find the strength to change. Something so enticing, about to find a little trouble tonight. When I know we shouldn't do it, you know it kept me going inside. Why? 'Cause I'm on the run, I rise above. Those days were fun, but something has changed me. If you could feel all of this love, you would agree that something's worth saving. I know where the weekend goes. Oh yeah, so many, many more. Remembering those days of old. Oh yeah, I know where the weekend goes. Alright, yeah. I know. Hey. That's right. I know. I'm on the run, I rise above. Those days were fun, but something has changed me. If you could feel all of this love, you would agree that something worth saving. I know where the weekend goes. Oh yeah, so many, many more, right? Remembering those days of old. Oh yeah, I know where the weekend goes. Alright, yeah. That's right. Follow the love. That's right. Follow the love, yeah. All day, all night. Follow the love. That's right. Follow the love. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, man. That was awesome. I love it.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
I wasn't sure how I was going to play that one. That's how I played it.
It worked out. Works for me.
Cool. You know, some of these songs we're just getting to record now, so it's kind of fun to play them acoustic as opposed to the way I play them in the band. This is another little tune called Dreaming and Believing. We'll They'll just slap you upside the face if this ain't what it seems. But life is way too short not to live the dream. Cause everybody got their own mind, and everybody's spending their own time. So let me tell you about the moment that make mine. Yeah, when I've been talking about the all day, all night, go hard, get right, sunset, sunrise, shoreline, head high, we the first ones out. Talking about that good love kind by cool bro, shit times, weekends, release under that sunshine. When I'm feeling strong, like I'm dreaming and believing. Dreaming and believing, hey, when it's on me, yeah, cause I like to dream. As I'm getting older, there's nothing more precious than time. I got all these wants and needs, so few are mine, yeah. You see, I'm doing what I got to do, yeah, and I'm taking it from day to day, hey. You know I keep it on my mind, cause man, it helps me stay sane. Yeah, when I've been talking about the all day, all night, go hard, get right, sunset, sunrise, shoreline, head high, we the first ones out. Talking about that good love kind by cool bro, shit times, weekends, release, Jimmy just came by with enough to go around. Like I'm dreaming and believing. Dreaming and believing, yeah, when it's on me, hey, cause I like to dream. Yeah, oh, alright. All day, all night, go hard, get right, sunset, sunrise, shoreline, head high, and we the first ones out. Talking about that good love kind by cool bro, shit times, weekends, release under that sunshine. When I'm feeling strong, like I'm dreaming and believing, yeah. Dreaming and believing, yeah. Dreaming and believing, oh yeah, yeah. When it's on me, hey, cause I like to dream, right? Dreaming and believing, oh yeah, alright. Dreaming and believing, oh yeah, when it's on me, cause I like to dream, yeah. Woo!
Nice.
Good stuff, man. Fantastic.
Hey, thanks, Ian.
And all right, we're back. And can you tell us about our sponsor, Hector?
Yeah, this week we have Harmony Management Group again. Same sponsor from last week, which is absolutely amazing that she came on board again this week. Harmony Management Group does light office things, filing, a couple hours a week for office type duties, and then they do all the way through taxes and bookkeeping and CPA stuff. So if you have a lot of chaos in your business and you need some organization and you want to put a little zen in your life, then you need to reach out to Mary at Harmony Management Group.
I know that it's a very useful service because a lot of people, especially in the creative arts, we've got a lot of ideas and we've got a lot of what's the word? We do a lot, and there's sometimes we're not so good at the bookkeeping.
No,
and
not
it's
at all.
nice to have someone around who is, and we've been the beneficiaries of Mary's skills. So
Absolutely, and I'll tell you the way my wife explains it to me is I'm very good at what I do, but I'm terrible at business. So that's where Mary comes in at Harmony. She can come in and kind of organize the chaos for you. So we'll splash the phone number on the screen for you guys. Reach out to Mary, let her know that Ben and Hector from 561 Music sent you, and all her information will be in the show notes as well with links and Facebook and all that stuff. So definitely give her page some love on Facebook and give her a call and let her help your business out a little bit. So
fantastic.
So thank you, Mary, if you're listening. We appreciate you. All right, man. Bryce, that was absolutely amazing. Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
guys.
That
Thanks, man.
was a huge treat for us, and I said it before when we weren't rolling, off camera. this podcast is very self-serving for us because Ben and I get to have these little mini private concerts,
Intimate performances,
in the 561 Music Acoustic Lounge. And how do you like the 561 Music Acoustic Lounge, provided by Live Music Community? There's a plug for Justin there.
Beautiful, beautiful, man.
Yeah, man. Could you tell us a little bit about what those two songs are about?
Yeah, sure. The first song, Weekends goes, it was basically me coming into my conscious, knowing I needed to make a change. Every weekend, I knew what was going to happen. I knew where that weekend went, man. It went into oblivion, you know, a lot of partying, a lot of, drinking and drug using, and it basically went to a place of, not really functioning and kind of dropping the ball, and I knew that's where it was going. So when you hear, at the same time, I knew that's where the weekends went, but I knew there was such a bigger picture, and I had such a bigger purpose than that,
Awesome.
and I knew if I didn't change, that those weekends would take me away forever. And so that is like saying, I guess it was the first sense of like when they say, because it was obviously a song about addiction, is realizing what battle you're actually in. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what I realized, that the weekends were like my battle to go out and play and party and get crazy.
Right.
But it was, the verses were like my weekdays when I would be somewhat back to reality going, I need to change or this is going to kill me.
Right.
And so I wrote a song about it because as you know, songs are therapy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wrote a song about it. And the funny thing about that song, you guys can appreciate this, I attempted to bring that song to Boxelder, and it just never quite stuck. I think we might have played it a couple times, and then I brought it with me to B-Liminal. Didn't quite stick.
Right.
And now I'm kind of glad because it's been my own little number that the Bryce Allyn Band has sunken their teeth into and really made it our own. So
Great.
that
Now,
song's
did it
been with
have-
me for a minute.
Did it have like a different feel or a different?
Yeah. So it's funny. So Boxelder just played it classic, like kind of like we do, like I do now, a little like the reggae chucks. But
Okay.
B-Liminal made it sound like 311.
Okay.
It had like a dun 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 dun. It was really
Right,
cool.
yeah.
I actually forgot when I heard the B-Liminal version. I was like, man, that's a great version, guys. It really stands up. Like that's killer. Like whoa. And then of
Is
course.
that like kind of like triplet dancehall type?
Yeah,
thing?
it was really cool. It was really 311. Yeah, I was really excited.
Yeah.
And then I tried to Frankenstein it, where I tried to take a part from them and the part of this and put the two parts together, but it just didn't work out. The whole thing ended up being better in this other field. To me, it made
Okay.
more
Well,
sense.
now
so
it's,
I kept
it's yours, and it's
It's
more
so that
personal.
song's been with me for a second.
Cool.
The second song, I was actually a more recent on the upbeat, on the good side of life. That was a song called "Dreaming and Believing" that we're putting out on this next album coming out. Actually, be on the EP, and
Cool.
that was a song just about life going really good after some hardcore perseverance and making it out. Like after coming out of all those horrible things, and I'm like, man, life is so good. Am I dreaming all this? Because I'm sure feeling it. I'm sure believing it.
Yeah.
And there's a couple classic lines in there that were very pertaining to the times, like but it was really me climbing out of that black hole and being like, life is good, dude. This must be a dream. Like I'm out of it, dude. I did it, and
and
that's what dreaming and believing was like. That's where that came from.
There's a difference between someone writing a song about like bum ba bum, life is good.
Yeah.
And someone writing a song like, oh my God, I can't believe it's
Yeah.
been so bad. And there's a lot more weight to it with in context. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Again, the weight of the life experience and delivering it from being
It
coming out.
it just gives it meaning.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
way more meaningful.
And you can sing that song with everything you got, no matter what every time, because it kind of takes you there.
Yeah, I feel that. I have a similar song that always takes me to the place when I wrote it, like every time I sing.
That's not the beauty of music.
Yeah.
It's like a time travel too. You guys are like,
Yeah.
the other day I just woke up to make a bunch of flyers, and I just put on this '80s playlist. And dude, I was right back in like the backseat of my dad's car in Massachusetts on the way to the beach in the morning. It's like
you
time
could ask-
travel.
Yeah.
I mean, I know smells do that and stuff, but music,
Yeah.
it's just such a powerful thing.
It's
It's
such a
just
powerful
amazing, dude.
You
It,
ask
I mean, it
anybody
brought me
who
right
knows me.
back there. It brings back these emotions. It's just like.
My wife cannot listen to Radiohead because it's related to a bad experience when she was a teenager. She hears a tiny bit of it, bursts into it. She can't handle it.
It's
Oh,
heavy.
wow.
Yeah. Music's powerful, man. I
Yeah,
tell you,
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
I got a
For sure.
Mike and a Mechanic song that's like that for me. I don't like
Really?
it's bad juju.
Yeah,
Bad
yeah.
juju.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike, wherever you are. If you're listening.
Nothing personal, bro.
I
just
mean, it
happened
wasn't
to
the
be on.
mechanics, it was you personally, Mike.
Hector, you said you had a question.
Yeah. Just a quick question. Just when I was going through, show prep and stuff, looking into some of the stuff, and you talked about it quite a bit too already. A lot of big names that you toured with, a lot of big producers and things that you've worked with. You know, I saw you played. I think it was with Boxelder. You played with Wycliffe Jean.
Oh yeah, that was
Wycliffe
recent. That was on the reunion.
Oh,
the
was it?
reunion.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
that was
yeah.
a show for our good buddy Duderman, who puts on many good
Okay.
shows through Ineffable. Knew us from the day. And hooked us up with Wycliffe. It was actually up in Melbourne.
Nice.
So we were an opener. Yeah, we were an opener.
And then I've seen you guys have played at House of Blues.
Yes,
and, you know,
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that. So
Yep.
I guess my question leading up to that is, you know, you've had all these pretty amazing experiences
Sure.
over your career. You know,
Blessed.
different venues. You know, cool studios to record at. Amazing artists to play with. Good producers to record with. Is there any one thing that stands out that you just go, you know, like that was my happy moment, like
Yeah.
you know, like this
That was a
one
good
show
spot.
that you walked out and you
Yeah.
said, look at this crowd, or whatever
Yeah.
whatever that was.
Yeah.
Is there that
Yeah.
one happy moment?
Yeah, I've had a couple of them sprinkled in there over
Yeah.
the years. But you know, I think when we did the first tour with the Marley Brothers. That was big. Like we walked
Yeah.
backstage to the green room, and it was us and Ziggy Marley, Julian Marley, Damian Marley.
crazy.
Dude, my
That's
jaw was on the
absolutely
ground.
amazing.
I was like shit. I didn't
Oh,
know what
I
to do,
imagine.
bro. I was
Yeah.
like a girl at the front row at the Beatles concert. You know, I like no. It was. I mean, I was more calm, you know, and respect. But to
Yeah.
watch those guys out, watch them, and watch the masters do it,
Yeah.
it was more than just a killer gig. It was like a lesson. I got
Yeah.
to stand right
Yeah.
behind there and watch these masters go. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm like that. I'm the worst person to go to a show with because I'm not there to party. I don't talk to me, dude. I'm studying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My girl's like that now. She's like, I'm like, dude, there's another time to talk than right now. We're
Let's
at a
discuss
show
this on the
watching
way
a
home.
concert. She likes to talk during the show. I'm like,
Right, yeah.
You know, you're talking loud. My ears, I can't hear. We need to watch the band study. But so, yeah, the Marley Brothers was definitely one of the high points. I remember there was a time before they hit the stage, they get together in a big chant. And it's a thing they've always
Oh,
done.
cool.
It's like a family thing.
Yeah.
And back to the respect thing we were talking about, I think they knew we were coming from the right spot. And
Right.
they invited us into the huddle.
See that?
wow.
And
absolutely.
everybody in
amazing.
Boxelder would tell you it was one of the
Yeah.
most spiritual things ever to be in that huddle
Yeah.
with those guys. You know, another time that pops out, there was this, the MFF was MF was a
Yeah.
giant music festival in Florida, in Orlando.
Right.
And at the peak of Boxelder, literally at the peak, one time we headlined that event, and there was people as far as my eye could see. It's probably, dude, I don't even want to say the number because I can't
Yeah.
count on that. But I'm telling you that we have pictures of it. I really felt the momentum and the wind in our sails and felt very
Yeah.
mighty. And it had been years of playing all over
Yeah.
and traveling, and it really just all came. You know, we had different people from different markets in Florida that we had been touring these centripetal circles for years, and they finally all started accumulating, coming
Yeah.
together at the same place. You know, Vero, Fort Pierce, Stewart started melting into Fort Pierce, into Vero, into Orlando, and they started showing up, and it was like this thing.
Right,
It was this
right.
thing for a little bit that was
Yeah.
really bigger than all of us. We didn't even really know what was going on. I don't know if we still know now. But I remember those times, some of the big shows, some of the big bands that we were able to play with. Another moment one time was really funny. We played with Buck Cherry Smash Mouth and Lenny Kravitz,
Right.
right?
Wow.
And the dude from Smash Mouth, Mitch, the drummer at the time, came out and started hanging out with us. And, you know, of course, we're like hanging out, partying with him, give him a shirt.
Yeah.
And then he goes up, and they're like, you know, they're going before Lenny, and Coral Sky is blowing up. And you know how they have the big screens? And Mitch is back there with a Boxelder shirt playing drums, dude. And we're like, yeah! So, you know, we've had lots of fun moments
Yeah,
like that. And you get a
that's
lot of
great.
cool bands that you liked, and then you get to like see them live. And it's like you're
For
at a
sure.
concert yourself, but then you get to go on
Oh, yeah.
stage, play music, and then talk to them after.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, these are like your
So
heroes.
cool,
and you're,
dude.
you're like
people you don't
hanging
even
out with
know.
them.
One
Yeah.
time we were playing with the Gin Blossoms. They
Yeah.
were so cool, dude. Like learned so many stories from those guys. We're at the Kravitz Center with the Doobie Brothers. It was
Yeah.
epic, dude. Like to learn from these people, you know,
Yeah.
just to hang out. It makes you feel really insignificant. I can tell you that.
Well, I've had a few similar experiences. We played a lot of festivals at a certain point in my career, and it's funny because it's sort of it does make you feel a little insignificant, especially when you're kind of setting up your little setup on the stage, and then like the guitar tech of the guitar tech of the guitar tech of the band, it comes over to you to tell you to move your stuff. you know what I mean? And then their gear's just like
everywhere,
enormous
bro.
and surrounding.
Your 5-piece band is set up in like a 3 cubic feet radius, dude.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
drummer's
Right,
got
right,
one
right.
drum, freaking.
Yeah, your whole
Yeah.
band sets up like just in front of the other drummers, you
Yeah.
know, kit or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. Ben and I were just comparing notes the other day with moments and things like that. And I said, one of my bigger moments or claim to fame was with the Nirvana tribute band that I was in with Justin.
Yes.
And we had played, this big street party on Clematis, and it was a few thousand people, et cetera. And the Misfits were on the stage that night. So, our claim is that we opened for the Misfits, or one of the bands that opened for the Misfits.
Yeah.
And Ben goes, "Oh, I think I did that same show, as a matter of fact."
Pretty sure we played the same show.
I didn't even know.
Wow.
I'm like, I listened to Killbillies, but I didn't know Ben personally
Right.
at the time. So it was
That's
just
funny.
funny. We're comparing notes, and he goes, "Yeah, I played that same show." Oh,
It's funny,
okay.
there's some bands, some legendary bands out there that just play a lot of like you're like, why are you like playing on Clematis? There's something
Yeah.
like Fishbone.
Yeah,
There's some
yeah.
people like that, huge,
Man.
awesome bands.
Yeah.
But they'll just come and do a small
Yeah.
thing like that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so
Fishbone's
awesome.
great. We traveled with them for a little bit.
Yeah?
They were really
Badass.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were really cool and rippers.
Yeah, right.
One time you were
Played a
saying
few
about
shows with them
about
too.
about feeling insignificant. We were in Jersey in the wintertime at this really cool. Half of it was a strip club and half of it was a rock bar. It was called Double D's, and we were on tour with Seven Mary 3 at the time. I don't know if you guys remember them
Yeah,
out of Orlando.
yeah,
Converse-
yeah.
Killer guys,
Yeah.
killer band, dude. Really,
Great
again,
band.
really
Great
good
band.
guys to hang with, bro. And they literally put us on before the doors opened. Dude, that was like the worst ever. They're like, doors open at 8, Boxelder 7:30. We're like, or whatever, for real, bro. So like our first set, no one was even there. It was like,
Oh, my
what are
God.
we doing now?
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
it's great. Trials and tribulations, I tell you.
Well, why don't you? I think we're at the portion now where we like to talk about gear.
Yeah.
So
about gear,
yeah,
guys.
man. Why don't you? You got a nice setup with your pedal board we see over there. So
Yeah, we'd love to hear
we'll
about it.
splash some
Yeah.
graphics on the screen for our
Cool, man.
viewers, and if you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about it.
So my pedal board is classic. It's built. It's built for my duties in the band specifically.
Sure.
I actually also have that pedal board usually hooked up to a looper
Right.
when I'm at home playing and I'm writing. So some of the stuff on there is for that. But anyways, I have the Pedal Train Classic, like the little floorboard.
Sure.
And I have a killer little battery supply underneath,
Yeah.
a little Voodoo Lab. So
Yeah.
that way I can power all my pedals from the top seamlessly. I have all the wire. I'm pretty OCD like that in my
Yeah.
current state. So all my wires are all wired meticulously. I can literally hold that thing upside down because it's so Velcro and it's structurally,
Yeah.
good. I basically, like tonight and in the past up till now, I have played that Godin A6. So it plugs directly into this acoustic DI, the LR bag. So it gives it a little more volume. A little bit, full on EQ and gains in there, really good. And then from there, I go into a reverb, of course, because got to have the reverb.
Sure.
And then from the reverb, I roll into the delay unit with the expression pedal. And that's really fun for the delays and the reggae style stuff because I just throw delays and I can hold them for as long or as little as I want, or feedbacks.
For me, that's the feature on your delay pedal that I'm really interested in, and something where I'm definitely a bit green-eyed about that. I got to get one. I got to
Sure.
get a delay with an expression pedal. That's
Yep.
awesome.
I just love the reggae and the dub stuff with the gunk, 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 and it's just so much colors and I'm probably like delay addicted. I probably hit that thing too much, but I got to tell you, I love it because it's also swells and in volume, so it can put color into the song without it actually being a part, And
Yeah.
sometimes when I'm singing, I need to like sing structurally or something, and I don't want to be doing both at one time, and I'll just like let it delay and trip for a little bit, and then get back to playing it.
Yeah, cool.
And then from there, I go to the wah, the Qtron's classic for that, kind of Jerry sound, little leads, really cool. It's kind of funky too.
Yeah.
The Qtron's great. I also have a phaser there because that's also a pretty cool sound for reggae. It's pretty. I actually use that phaser for my lead channel on that rig, which is weird. That's not really a thing, but the way I have it set up, the phaser sounds really funky and it's just loud enough, louder than my regular signal, that for the leads it boosts me up just a little bit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, not an orthodox maneuver by any means. It just happens to be that way on that pedal board. Then you'll see I have the Boss bass simulator. That's pretty much, I don't use that live at all. That's all for my looping when I drop bass lines.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this little white box over here, that's a compressor, and that's what the normal person would use for a lead. That's like actually why I bought it, because it really tightens up your sound and really adds some volume to the leads. And then, of course, my little tuner on the end. So, it's a pretty colorful setup. It works really good with the A6 because the A6 guitar is a hybrid with the humbucker and the piezo pickup. So with that, out of that DI, giving it that volume, and then the humbucker to pick up all those electric signals is great.
Yeah.
So it really works with the hybrid guitar. Now, as we talked earlier, the Sweetwater Fairy's coming to my house tomorrow, and I'm actually going from analog, like I showed you guys. I'm actually going full electric guitar now with the Helix LT, which is going to be a totally an amp modeler, which is kind of the way of the future and
is.
easy gig. Now, granted, it's right down the middle. Some guys are classic analog speaker.
Sure.
That's great. To be honest with you, I can't lose that pedal board. I'm going to get an amp and have an analog setup for home and the amp modeler setup. I'm going to kind of explore both of them.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna, for right now, this has been a really trusty rig for me over time, and it has a lot of beautiful colors and tones on it, and it's really fun to play live with that expression pedal because you can throw delays all day long, and you can throw eighths, third, quarter notes, dotted, like anything you want. You can switch the delays up and do some really neat stuff.
I think something that one of the reasons I think that a modular kind of, analog, even though a lot of them are digital, pedal board. I think the good thing about that, you could say over something that is just one of these fantastic new multi-effects is there's a certain reliability that is just knobs and buttons.
Yes.
And it's
A
just
simplicity. You know what you're going to get with those
Yeah.
circuits. You know what's going to happen every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do sometimes. Well, I've got a Line 6 multi-effects, the one that came out just before the Helix, so it's not quite as fancy, but
I know which one you're talking about. It's a great unit. It's got a lot of
Yeah.
good sounds in it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
got all the delays from the DL4, right?
Yeah.
And that thing. Yeah, those
Yeah.
are great. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are great.
totally.
A lot of good delays on those units. Some
Absolutely.
really good ones.
And I'm not a huge fan of the overdrives and distortions in it, but absolutely on the delays.
Yeah, I'm with you. I gotta be honest with you. Like my early days, I was like jump, because I was like younger and just like aggressive. But now I don't even have a distortion. I don't play distortion. You know what I mean? I play a lot of clean tones and stuff. I just realized that when I got that new PRS, I hooked it up to an amp. I was like,
Oh, that was pretty. I
distortion.
saw you post that.
I like that.
That was pretty.
So I'm actually going for the electric new school now, but I gotta tell you, I'm always a fan of the pedals, of the individual pedals. My only deal is that there's when it comes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pedals, you're looking at 6 chords and 6 possibilities of things that can go wrong on any given day.
Sure.
And I've experienced, I kick one, it buzzes, it's live, so I'm gonna try to go with the modeler and just see what that goes like.
Yeah, sure. I think it's fine. It happens to all of us. Happens to me once in a blue moon where you're just staring at the pedal board like, what is it?
What is it?
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. It could be one of 20 things right now.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is.
Yeah, totally.
So
And then you realize you didn't plug the guitar in.
dude, I'm telling you, bro.
Yeah.
I do some ridiculous stuff like that.
I keep
sometimes.
playing the stand-up bass. I keep threatening Ben, telling him, I'm gonna bring a distortion pedal. I'm gonna bring a distortion.
gonna
pedal,
bring one, man.
I'm gonna bring one.
Yeah.
That's great. All right, so listen, it's been so nice having you on, and I
been
feel like we have to start
fantastic.
wrapping this up because at some point we've all got to go home and go to bed.
That's true, man. I gotta give a 5:30 a.m. Get the kids to school, man.
Yeah, but the thing that we did like to do at the end is Hector has a list of some shows that are happening this weekend. You want to tell us
Yeah.
about
So
that?
the podcast drops on Fridays. So presumably, if people are listening to it on Friday, what we like to do is whoever the guest is, we like to give them a shout out for their shows because they just got to learn a lot about you, a lot of deep stuff, and so it'd be great if they came out and showed some support and
for
actually
sure.
listened to you live.
Sure, man.
So. 8 p.m. Friday, you're playing at CWS Bar and Kitchen. That
Yes.
is what, Lake Worth?
That's Lake Worth. Yeah, that is.
Awesome.
It's fun. The first weekend of every month, the whole band plays, so it's really fun. CWS is one of those that we get to exercise the full band. So we really like that gig. Yeah, it's fun.
And then Saturday, 8 p.m. at Square Grouper, and that is the Fort Pierce
That's the Fort
location.
Pierce one. Again, that's a full band, and so we're
awesome.
psyched. Yeah,
Oh, man, that's-
I don't know about you guys, but like you were saying, well, you guys are the trio, so you guys are playing full. For us, it's a challenge. We are playing duo, trio. We're like
We do the
fitting into
same
budgets
thing.
we're working. So
Yeah.
so all I try to do is exercise the band. That's all I want to do. But too many times the budgets don't reflect that, so you end up playing as a duo
That's
or a
what
trio.
happens to
But on
us.
the first this weekend is that we really get to exercise the band, so we get excited about that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, 4 p.m., Banana Boat.
Yes, 4 p.m. I booked that gig and didn't realize it was Easter, and neither did Banana Boat. So now
is
that gig
Easter.
is just going to be a duo. Ryan doesn't know yet. I got to let him know. They got to scale it down because So and that's just a duo gig. But we're down in Boynton, which is fun. You're on the water. It's open air, good vibes. I feel blessed. All these venues that we just spoke of, and all the venues that we play, I want to say 99.9, if not 100, we are all outside. And you'll notice on every single ad that I put out there in flyer, I'm like open air, good vibes because in case anybody's tripped out about the plague and everything, we're outside
Most
and we
most
have
of the
open air.
places, I would say probably same with us. Like 85-90% of the places we play,
Yep.
it's outdoors.
it's
It's
good.
outdoors or it's opened up
Open
in
air.
somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah, it's open air. Yeah.
Yep, that's what's up.
All right, so then usually at this point, I like to plug Killbillies because, I can.
You guys are great. I'm a fan.
so-
Can I just
Thanks,
say
man.
that I'm a fan?
So,
I appreciate that.
9 p.m. on Friday, Ben is doing solo at Island Root. It's his first Kava Bar
Kava bar. We
appearance.
talked about that
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've never played one. I'm really looking
Is
forward
the crowd
to
going to be amped?
it. Well, I have no idea. I have no idea. A friend of mine, you know Victoria Lee?
Yeah, she's great.
She
Love
books
Victoria.
she books these places, these gigs at the Carver bars, and she's got. I'm like kind of. I think this is the first gig I'm doing for her actually.
Oh,
on
that's
Friday.
great.
So yeah, I'm
Nice.
looking forward to it. Yeah.
Nice.
Way to help a brother out, Victoria. She's deep in the
Yeah.
scene, helping people out. Good person.
Absolutely.
And
man.
Saturday at 3 p.m., Ben and James are going to do a Killbillies duo at Square Grouper, but that's Square Grouper in Jupiter.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I thought they were opening for you guys.
Oh, right, yeah, of course. Yeah.
And
yeah, you're
then 9 p.m. Saturday, full band for Killbillies at O'Shea's.
Yeah.
Oh,
and,
fun.
yeah, that's always.
Are you guys
that's-
inside or out back?
We are inside.
Okay,
That's one of the
cool.
very few venues that we do play inside, and it is always a blast there.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
O'Shea's
like
is a
a-
staple,
always.
bro. Let me tell you, O'Shea's was like,
Yeah.
It's been around forever.
dude, 20 years ago I was playing
Yeah.
O'Shea's, and it was
Yeah.
still awesome back then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good people,
Yeah.
good vibes.
It's like our spiritual home.
Yeah.
Killbillies belongs anywhere.
And-
I was gonna say, if that shoe
Yeah.
doesn't fit just right, I'm like,
Well,
wow,
now,
bro,
yeah.
that's sick,
And
bro.
now with the little Irish, 30-minute instrumental set we have,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
right. up
Forget
there.
it's a no-brainer, dude.
Fun,
I love
fun
that.
fact though,
Yeah.
first time I saw Killbillies was probably 8 years ago, 9 years ago, whatever. When they were a couple of years in or something, and I saw them at O'Shea's.
Wow.
And I had no idea who they
That's
were, and I just
great.
happened to catch them there, and I fell in love with them. I was like, this is awesome. And
That's rad.
fast forward to now, and
Yeah. Look at that, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
The seed was planted.
Yeah, man. And
So-
the last thing is, I always want to make sure I plug at the end is that we have a 561 music playlist that you can find on Spotify, and we're adding to it all the time, and just trying to make it as good a listen as we can. There is so much good local music here. You should check out the playlist. Now it's what I listen to when I'm driving around in the car, pretty much over anything else. There's local music for days down here, and we're just trying to reflect that on the playlist and put some of the best stuff on there.
And if you have something, if you have some original music and you want to share it with us, and you're not on our playlist, either send us a message on Facebook, Instagram us. It's at 561 Music Podcast on both Facebook and Instagram. You can also email us 561musicpodcast@gmail.com. I'll put all the links in the show notes. I'll put all of Bryce's links in the show notes. We're going to have all his social media, his website, his schedules, all that kind of good stuff. We'll have our sponsor in there. Links to Live Music Community, which is an amazing facility that we're recording in. All of that stuff will be in there. And the next week, I'm excited about next week, Ben. We have Vince Flora next week.
Oh,
Yeah.
Vince, dude.
Yeah,
Vince
yeah,
is
he's
classic,
he's
dude.
another staple here.
Vince, dude.
He's been around
Completely.
for forever as well.
Oh, what a treat, dude.
I
Yeah.
know he's got so much wisdom and so much experience down here that I think it would have been criminal not to have him come and speak to us. on
Yeah,
today.
it's classic, dude.
Yeah,
Oh,
from
I
both,
can't wait
from
to
both
check
the
that one
venue
out.
side and performer side.
Yeah,
So,
all around,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that's going to be next week. So
All right, well, until next week, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so
much.
Awesome,
Thanks a lot, Bryce.
guys.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it.
Good hanging. Good
Yeah.
hanging. Yeah.
Talking about the scenes, it's what we're doing. Come and check it out, it's what we're all about. 561